What is up, everyone? Casey here with the Coyote Works channel, heading out on another adventure, and this one's going to be a little bit different kind of an adventure. We're actually going on a couple of day trip out here, and we're going out to look at a piece of property. It's a little 40-acre piece for like 14,000 bucks. The first challenge is just going to be even seeing if we can find the piece of property. It's really remote, like 25-30 miles off a paved road out in the middle of nowhere out here. But as some of you guys know, I've been looking for a little piece of really remote off-grid property for a while, and at least looking at the maps and the satellite images, this one looks like it could be a good little place to set up a off-grid zombie apocalypse homestead site for the Coyote Works headquarters, or at least the Coyote Works field headquarters maybe. So anyway, we're going to wander out here, see if we can find that piece of property, and along the way it'll be the pretty typical trip. We're going to traverse some rough roads. I'll show you guys some of the country. Maybe we'll find a little bit of history along the way. There certainly is some cool history out here in this country. We're going to cook a cool dinner, one of my favorite little camp meals that you guys have probably seen before, but hopefully you'll enjoy seeing that again. So I'm really looking forward to eating it for sure. One of the challenges for this trip is going to be the weather and the trail conditions. And interestingly enough, this time of year out here, the hope is that the temperatures actually stay really cold. Right now it's about 24 degrees Fahrenheit, and okay, all right, so here's one of the challenges. So we got this little water hole in front of us in the road, and we're just going to take a quick peek at this, because the thing is, we want to make sure that it's frozen solid. All right, let's check this out. So see, one of the issues out in this country is when it gets soft, you get these kind of mud holes in the road, which this isn't too bad right here. I'm just gonna check. Oh yeah, this feels extremely solid. Yeah, that's frozen solid, but if it warms up, going out across these flat playas like this can just turn into mud bogs that go on forever. So as we head out across this country, we'll come across quite a few more of these probably. And like I said, right now it's about 24 degrees, so as long as the temperature stays low, I'm not too worried about it. But we're gonna get a long ways back in here, and so we gotta be careful that that temperature doesn't shift on us out here. Anyway, we'll roll on. Everything looks good so far. All right, let's check this out, guys. So I actually did break through this one. Let's see how deep it's looking. Yeah, that's not too bad, actually. That does make me a little bit nervous that we broke through this one, so I guess we'll just continue to see how it goes. All right, it looks like we got a decent little water hole coming up here on the road. So this is the biggest one so far, and I'm just not sure how well frozen it's going to be. So I think we're just going to hit it hard and see if we can blast right through it. Oh yeah, we're broken through. All right, that wasn't too terrible. So that was a good little confidence builder. We actually were able to move right through that pretty well, and we didn't sink too deep underneath it. So that tells me that the bottom's still pretty solid, which is good. driving along this road along the edge of this hill, and now we have kind of a little bit of a different problem, which is that no one has been on this road since the snow's fallen, or since the last couple of snows have fallen. So now we're pushing through. It's not deep snow, but it's definitely loading up the motor, so our gas mileage is going to go completely down to nothing on this. So we're gonna have to start paying attention to that. Now we can burn a lot of fuel getting not very many miles on this stuff. So anyway, we'll see how she goes. We're getting through it really good, and it's just gorgeous country in here. So one thing I did do on this trip is I brought my iPad Pro with my map on it. So this has got a cellular connection in it, and it's got a little bit bigger screen. So I'm sure there's going to be way too much glare for this to show up. But that little arrow right there is where I'm at. I'm using the Gaia GPS app. You can see this purple line right here is a track that I've done before. And then if I zoom out, that little red square right there is the property that I want to go look at. So somehow I have to get from here where I am to there, and it's only a distance of about 6 or 7 miles. But my issue is I know I can come to the end of this road, but then I've got a gap in here where I don't see a road that connects to the next one. So anyway, that'll be my next little challenge. Other than that, this is pretty smooth in here. God, this is just beautiful in here, going along the edge of this ridge here, and not a track on the road. All right, so check this out. There's an abandoned car there out in the middle of nowhere. It was a little bit out of my way, but I saw it sitting out here, and I wanted to make sure that somebody wasn't stranded in it. So we're gonna jump out and check it out and make sure that there's not like a body in there or something like that, and see if we can figure out what happened there. So you guys are the witness if somebody jumps up out of that car and shoots me. So the first thing is, you can see quite a bit of piled up snow around it. It's a pretty worn out looking old vehicle. This might have actually broke down out here prior to this snow. Oh, look at that, their muffler's off. Let's see what that sticker is on it. All right, so that's a BLM tag. So the BLM's already located this car. Ah, damn, looks like the tire went flat and they drove it on that rim. So, a lot of people ask me, why do you carry a gun out here in the woods? Well, this is an example. Obviously, this was something pretty sketchy was going on. Why somebody, yeah, who knows, pretty sketchy looking rig though. And the crazy thing is like, I don't know if you guys really have an appreciation for how remote we are out here, but it is crazy that somebody drove that little 2-wheel drive car out here. Now, they're probably 2 miles back that way from a little bit better road, but this road that they drove out, it's no wonder they tore the muffler out of that car and everything, because that is a rough, rocky little stretch of road through here. Okay, well, back on the trail, huh? We're working our way a little bit closer to that property. We're actually not far from it at this point, maybe another 2 miles, I'm guessing. And the only thing that could potentially be a little bit of a challenge is we do have to climb over a little bit of a rim rock, and it looks like there's kind of a little bit of a steep spot in the road there. So we'll see how that is in the middle of all this snow. But other than that, I think we're gonna make it. And I'm really excited to see this chunk. It's a reasonable price, and I think it might be exactly what I'm looking for. All right. All right, guys, we are approaching the valley where that property is, and this valley out here is, man, it is really remote, but it's one of my favorite places. I just love this wide open country out here and surrounded by these rim rocks with all kinds of history. There was homesteads out here. There was Native American history. So coming down this ridge, we've got some nice old growth juniper in here, and then look out there across that valley. So somewhere out there is that piece of property, and I've got the outline marked out on my map. So it should be pretty easy to find it. I went into the county GIS system and looked at it, but just always loved this valley out here. We're on the final approach into the property here. In fact, it might be right up there where that little rise is. See, I've got the property outlined in red there. And we are right here, so we're just coming up to that property. Should be right up there where that little rise is, which is really, really perfect if there's a little bit of terrain there. So let's go check it out. All right, well, here we are, guys, at the property. So we're sitting on the southeastern boundary of the property, and what I think we're going to do is just jump out and kind of walk the perimeter of it. I'm curious, there's a little bit of a rise back up there. I'm curious to see how far the property goes back up that little bit of a rise. Other than that, it's just flat sagebrush out here. We're going to throw on a shell and grab some gloves, and we're going to be inside of the Jeep the whole time. So my rule of thumb is if I'm going out of sight of the Jeep, I'm going to take a little pack of some sort and some basic supplies. But in this case, we'll be able to see the Jeep the entire time because it's flat as a pancake out here, and it's only a 40-acre piece, so we're not going to be going super far. And plus, I always have flashlight and a lighter and stuff in my pocket, and obviously a handgun and a knife on me. So grab some gloves, camera, and yeah, let's go check it out. All right, here we go. So the first thing I notice is that there is actually a cross fence here. I don't know if it actually goes the property boundary. There should be a corner right up there, and then basically it stretches out this direction. So I think first we're gonna walk up this fence line, and there's only one wire left, but I'm curious if this entire thing is fenced. Looks like there might be a cross fence up here. But what's nice is we are gaining a little elevation. It's not a lot, but just enough that back up in here, I could set up a nice little camp and have a little bit of fall out there. Also, I was hoping there was enough elevation that I could potentially set a water tank up here and then have it gravity feed down to a camp. So we'll see. I don't know if there's quite enough elevation for that. All right, so here we are on the highest corner of the property right there. The land doesn't fall off a lot, but there is a little bit of an elevation difference up here. Not really any fence to speak of going this way. Oh, there goes a jackrabbit. So there's food here. That's good in the zombie apocalypse. Man, I'm actually really pleased with the fact that there is a little bit of elevation on the property. All right, I should be in about the center of the property now, so I'll give you guys a little panorama. You should see the Jeep over there. There's that upper corner up there on that ridge. There's the lower corner over there. The other corner is about right over there. So you see, it's just a little pie slice of this valley out here. Man, it is cold out here. It's down to about 21 degrees. So I'm gonna start working my way back to the Jeep. And I'm really happy with what I saw here. For what I have in mind, it's actually a really good fit. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys more about that maybe when we're sitting around the campfire tonight or something. But God, it is just beautiful. And I could spend years exploring all this country around. what do you think, guys? Will this work? We got a little bit of a lake bed out here in front of us. Man, this would be a neat little spot when there's no snow on the ground too, but we've got a couple old growth junipers behind us. We've got a down juniper over there, so we've got some wood. A little bit of a view out here in the morning. We broke tracks coming in, so should be easy getting out of here. We've got some trees there we can post up our camp under, so this should be a pretty good spot. I'll probably set camp up underneath those trees up in there, just in case we do get a snowstorm in tonight. Set a rooftop tent up right there, and then we'll have this little bit of a view out across this flat in the morning. So yeah, I think this will work. Yeah, I'll probably trim up some of these limbs in here, and then those will also work for our firewood. And the nice thing about this right here is we don't have a lot of snow on the ground underneath these trees, so that'll be nice. All right, so the next thing is we're going to lay in some firewood. So for that, we're going to use a little Makita, battery powered. And let's see. Oh yeah, good to go. So we got a nice dead juniper tree over there. We're going to go over and see if we can figure out how to carve out some decent sized wood out of it. Old growth sagebrush here, and this stuff makes really good firewood too. See, look at that. This older sagebrush, nice and solid. Really good wood. Winter camping is all about gathering firewood, so I think I got a good amount chainsawed up over there. So I think this is worth noting. One of the reasons why I picked this camp spot is because I've got this spot underneath these big old growth juniper trees where there's not much snow on the ground. And I think this is a good example right here where I set down my bag full of recovery gear. There's actually no snow on the ground at all here. So that's actually a decent little survival tip too, is if you're ever out in this country and you get stuck out and have to spend the night, a lot of times you can hole up underneath a big old juniper tree like this and stay dry through almost any kind of storm. So I think it's worth mentioning, I'm using this Blackfire portable power station, and this is essentially their 1,000 watt-hour unit. Right now I've got my GoPro and then a Canon M3 battery charging, but this is actually enough of a battery for me to recharge my jump starter for my engine. One of the things I really like about bringing a portable power station is a really simple basic fix, but it essentially gives me a way I can have stuff charging or have stuff being powered completely independent of my vehicle battery, so I'm not messing with my vehicle's electrical system at all. I'm going to set up one of my favorite all-time pieces of gear. This is right up there like with the ready light. This is the MC Ranch portable original fire reflector wall. You guys have seen me for years setting up fire reflector walls, and now it's that simple. All right, and I got a brand new axe on this trip. This is a Holtzbruck. I think this is the Agdor line. So this is kind of their working man's axe line, and this style here, this is basically an American felling axe style, although this is a small one. This is like a 2 3/4 pound head on a 26-inch handle. So this is like the perfect size for a little camp axe. Big enough that you can actually do some work with it, and small enough to be compact to fit in a vehicle or even on the side of a pack. So this is the Holtzbruck Agdor. Now this should work, nothing overhead. Probably going to keep the fire fairly small tonight. All right, I think I'll go ahead and stand up the rooftop tent really quick. That'll only take a minute, and then that'll be done, and then actually the majority of our big camp chores will be done at that point. All right, Let there be light. Oh yeah. Alright, I think it's about time to get this fire going. It's getting chilly out here. Alright guys, well this is getting challenging. It's getting pretty cold out here. It's down to about 17 degrees right now, so right now I'm having a hard time just keeping stuff from freezing up. So I'm going to try to make a nice dinner here, but it's going to be a little tough as cold as it is. But this is one of my favorite camp meals. I like a good bratwurst sausage. These are Hills Farm bratwurst. I really like those. They're raw, uncooked, so I'll cook those up in a frying pan. And then I've got some fresh sauerkraut and some mashed potatoes. So mashed potatoes, sauerkraut, and bratwurst is one of my favorite camp meals. Man, I'm getting hungry too. All right, boys and girls, I think we might actually end up with a decent dinner here. Just enough heat off of the butane to get the sausages done. I got some water boiled up, and that's all I needed for the instant potatoes. Guys, I use these Idahoan instant potatoes, and tonight I did the baby reds because to me red potatoes just go really well with sausage and sauerkraut. But they make all kinds of different flavors, but they're really good, and the ingredients are actually pretty decent. They're real potatoes, and they're super easy to fix around camp. All right, I got the sausage browned up good, so now we can add the kraut. All right, guys, let me show you the magic here. We'll turn that down a little bit. So basically just gonna move my kraut over, make a little spot for my mash, which has been sitting by the fire. Oh, my beverage is freezing. My beverage of choice is an AHA, which is rapidly turning into an AHA slushy. This is crazy. This definitely gets challenging when it's this cold. But we got a hot dinner in front of us. Oh man, I can't wait. One of my all-time favorite meals right there. Sauerkraut, bratwurst, just a really good combination. I'm gonna have to get snugged up a little closer to the fire with my dinner. It's cold out here. All right, everyone, well, my belly's full. I got my dishes cleaned up, which was no small task given the temperature out here. So, but like always, I want to take a minute to tell you guys how much I appreciate all the support and everything. I want to thank everyone who's contributed to the Gas and Tire Fund by clicking on the PayPal donate link in the description of my video down below. I appreciate every single one of those contributions. No matter how much they are, they all add up, and they really help to offset the costs of the video editing, the cameras. If any of you out there would like to make a monetary contribution to my channel, the best way to do that is to click on that PayPal donate link in the description down below. And again, all of that goes just straight back into the channel. It just helps me kind of offset the cost. So appreciate y'all. I'm going to kick back, enjoy the last of my tasty little beverage here, then crawl up in the rooftop tent and see if I can get that little butane Covea Cupid heater fired up in there. May I tell you, this fire, I got a nice bed of coals, and between that and the fire reflective wall, it's actually pretty comfortable sitting right here in front of it. So yeah, there's nothing like the heat from a nice campfire with a good bed of coals in it to keep you warm. So I'm buttoning my camp up a little bit. I'm not going to worry too much about stuff. I don't think we're going to get snow tonight, but I'll put my chair back up underneath that juniper tree in the dry spot where it'll stay dry under there even if we do get a little snow flurry. But something that I will have to do because of how cold it is if I don't put my ice chest inside my Jeep, everything in it'll freeze solid over the course of the night, because it's like probably like 14, 15 degrees out here now, and then who knows, I mean, it could get down to 5, 7 degrees tonight. So I'm going to put that inside my rig, put my chair underneath the tree, and for the most part, camp's all buttoned up, so I think I'm probably going to crawl up into the rooftop tent here and just turn on the little heater and hang out in there. Telling you guys right now, it is cold out here this morning. Let me get another layer on here. And I think we're actually going to start the Jeep. Number one, make sure it starts. All right, we're good to go. The Jeep starts. God, it is just beautiful out here. All right, well, went on a little bit of a walk around this morning, and now it's starting to warm up a little bit. Actually, it's not really warming up. You can just feel the heat of the sun. It's about 15, 16 degrees out right now, but I think I'm going to go ahead and make a little fire here for the morning, and maybe we'll have a little breakfast, a little hot breakfast before we pack up camp, I'm thinking. A lot of the wood around here is just frosty and wet, so I'm basically just creating some little kindling. Will help me get my fire started. So this wood right here is nice and dry because I split it out of like the center of some larger pieces. There's nothing like having a good axe around camp too. Alright, so to start my fire this morning, I'm going to use this awesome fire steel that I got from Wilson Custom Knives. You can check them out on Instagram, and I'll have a little description down on my video below. But what's really cool about this is I can actually store a little bit of fire starter in the handle. So I had a little bit of a tinder quick, or it's actually wet fire tinder, I pulled out of the handle. And we're going to use this fire steel to get that wet fire tinder started, and then I've got all of my little material right here set up to start the fire. One thing is, when you strike with a fire steel, what you want to do is hold your knife in a fixed position and then pull with the steel. You don't want to push with the knife blade. There we go. Alright, I got a little fire going. Just sweep the snow off of my table and stuff. So I got a nice little fire going. Took a little bit to get it to the point where it's putting off some good heat, and the next thing I'm going to do is have a little breakfast. I just made myself a little redneck iced latte, so I've got a little bit of milk and some canned cold brew coffee in there. Actually, my buddy Wendell turned me on to these cans of cold brew coffee that you can get from Costco, and they're actually pretty good. For breakfast this morning, I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to have a Mountain House biscuits and gravy meal. Now I'll set this down by the fire so it'll kind of stay warm. Alright, see how this Mountain House is. Nice hot breakfast. Actually, this Mountain House biscuits and gravy is one of my longtime favorites. Surprising how delicious they can make these biscuits and gravy, and the chunks of biscuit in there are still a little bit firm, and gravy's got good flavor. I know it's not fancy, and I always enjoy cooking a bigger breakfast, like doing biscuits in the Dutch oven and doing some bacon and a breakfast skillet or something. But as far as just a down and dirty, easy breakfast, it's pretty tough to beat the Mountain House biscuits and gravy. Alright, so I'm going to throw some gas in my rig. I've got about, I think this is a 4.5 gallon can, so this should be plenty. I probably have just enough to get back home in my tank, but I want to do a little bit extra exploring, so I'm going to go ahead and throw this in. So it looks like my ready light's all charged up, so it's been out here in the sun for about 2 hours, so that's about how long it took for it to charge from the amount of time that I used it last night. So I'm putting the ready light away. One of the things I really like about this is the fact that it fits in this, all in this self-contained little case right here. So I'm using a Free Spirit Evolution Series rooftop tent, and it's held up via gas struts. So one little tip I do is when I know there's going to be a snow, if it gets too much of a snow load on the roof, it could collapse the roof at night. So I just have this monopod here for my camera that I stick underneath there to hold it up. Kind of tuck everything in as it's coming down. And this side's actually just got a pull rope on it that I can pull it down. But I think I'm actually going to leave it up for a minute and see if that snow will drain off that side. Alright, well I got my camp all buttoned up. I just threw a few of the scraps of wood laying around here, the small ones, and I'm going to burn that fire down. It's almost down to coals. I'll burn it down almost to the bottom and kick a little snow on top of it, and then we'll be on the road. All right, we are back on the trail. So we're just going to cruise a few miles, and we're going to actually go through some of the same country we went through yesterday. So unless I see something interesting along the way, I probably will just hit you guys back when we get to our next spot. We're going to try to go see if we can scout out a different route home, and it'll be interesting to see if we can make it through it. I'm going to take advantage of the stop here and grab myself a little snack, and then we're going to get in the rig and move along and see what else we can find. I always like to have some grab and go stuff handy, so I get these little Uncrustables, these little peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Those are great little handy snacks. A little deli pasta salad too. That'll work. Cheers, guys. Whew, dang guys, it's chilly out there. All right, let's roll on to the next spot. I'm actually looking forward to being in the Jeep with the heater. Man, my fingers got cold out there just being out there for that 20 minutes or so. We are going to start working our way out this other direction, but along the way there's a couple other cool spots that hopefully we'll get to stop and check out. So cross your fingers, hope the roads are decent. We're going to hit a point out here a little ways where we're going to be halfway through our fuel, and it's going to be do or die time at that point. So we'll need to make sure we watch it really close and make sure we don't go past the point where we have enough fuel to turn around and come back out this direction. All right, so we're pushing some pretty deep snow again in here, which is, I mean, we're getting through it okay. It's just we're going to burn a ton of fuel, and I don't have that much of a buffer zone when it comes to fuel, so keep your fingers crossed, guys. All right, so we're at a pretty cool spot here. I haven't been here in a long time, so I thought I'd jump out, walk around it a little bit. It's too bad there's so much snow on the ground, so I won't be able to see a whole lot here, but it is a pretty cool spot. It used to be just this amazing homestead out here. So let's go check it out. So we're standing right here in what used to be kind of the ranch yard or so. See, there's a little bit more modern water holding tank right there, but there's the old original windmill tower. No blades on it. Look at the gate back into the ranch, and this all used to be part of the ranch yard here. I don't remember, I'd have to walk around to see where the homestead was, but these are pretty cool old water troughs here. And this is a little bit newer fence. This corral in here's a little bit newer. It's still used to this day. I'm going to show you this ramp over here because I've had people ask me this question before. So I'm going to show you guys what this is. So what this is a ramp for loading cattle. You can see that's actually a board chute right there where the cows can walk up. So they basically have the cows inside that corral in there, and they run them into, let's see if I can give you guys a little better look at this. So they run them into this little wing chute, and then the cows can run right along here, right up that ramp, and there's a truck backed up to that ramp. And that's why there's that kind of loading dock ramp there. This one's in kind of poor shape. You can see it's missing some of the boards here, but basically it would be made for the truck to back up to here, and then the cows would come running out of that chute and load up into the truck. So you started seeing these out in this country around, well, more so around like the 1940s, and so when they started using trucks a little bit more to haul cattle. Prior to that, they hardly ever used trucks to haul cattle. They drove them pretty much every place, and actually they continued to do cattle drives and drive cattle to different pastures, especially out in country like this that was so remote and the roads were so bad. Pretty cool. And this is a pretty neat little piece of history out here. This homestead was not too far away from one of the largest sheep massacres in Oregon, way back around the early 1900s. There was a lot of competition for the range out here, and there were cattlemen and sheepmen, and the cattlemen were notorious, or at least there were a couple of groups of them out here that were notorious from, if they would come across bands of sheep, they would just slaughter them all. And there's a place not too far from here called Benjamin Lake, which was the site. I think something like 1,500 sheep were just shot out there because the cattlemen didn't want the sheep on the range, and probably the sheepmen didn't want the cattle on the range either. Let's take a little walk over here and see if there's anything interesting we can see. Another one of these old water troughs. Look at that windmill, isn't that cool? Those timbers, and it would have been pretty amazing the work that it took to haul that lumber out here to build that thing. And you can see the older corrals back through there, and I think, if I remember right, somewhere back out here is where the actual homestead was. Usually in places like this, the homestead was pretty close to the water supply. Damn, guys, it's getting cold. Yeah, I'm not seeing any boards out here or the remains of the homestead, so we'll have to come back another time when there's not a 10 inches of frozen icy snow on the ground. That's an old section of fence right there. All right, I think, man, we're gonna get back to the Jeep and cruise on a little bit further. Yeah, the sky's getting pretty dark and ominous looking out there, and we're still, oh God, who knows, 3 hours from a decent main road or something. So, whew, chilly. Yeah, well, I enjoyed stopping here. Hopefully you you guys enjoyed that too. But now we're gonna jump back in the rig and move on to the next one. All right, we are back on the trail and kind of just still bucking snow through these valleys out here. Oh, and the last little bonus of the day is that heavy snow finally hit. It actually just started sprinkling about an hour ago, almost exactly 4 p.m., just when the weather said it would. And now it's coming down, man. I love to see this out here. We need so much more of this snow this winter. We've been in this drought for so long, we just need this to keep piling up. But God, it's just beautiful out here under a fresh snow. I almost wish I wasn't headed home. I wouldn't mind staying out here for another night.